Accident Fund Senior Manager for Road Safety. And we are talking about the campaign they are running, Youth Month Winter Campaign to promote road safety. Sphamandla, how are you?
Good afternoon. I'm doing very well, and thank you for being part of this program this afternoon.
Mm,
And greetings to the listeners at home.
thank you so much for talking to us about what's happening with your winter campaign. So, what is the role of the Road Accident Fund and how does road or safety fit in the mandate?
Okay, the Road Accident Fund is, I think listeners would know, we are an entity of government that is tasked with the responsibility to compensate people who were injured on road accidents,
Mm,
but also to compensate families whose loved ones or those who support them, what we normally call breadwinners, have also been killed in road accidents. So basically, our responsibility is to do that. But on top of that, the act under which we operate requires of us to contribute to road safety,
mm,
meaning we come up with programs that are aimed at reducing the number of accidents or making people aware of the dangers of being involved in dangerous activities while using the roads,
mm.
uh, activities which unfortunately lead to crashes that we see on a daily
Sure.
basis in this country.
You know, nobody wakes up in the morning and thinks, Uguti, I'll be in an accident today. Nobody. I remember I had an accident in 2004, coming from work, going home. And still today, I have some after effects. Just this morning, I woke up feeling like I had a whiplash. So driving and coming to work
Mm.
has been something else.
Yeah,
So, what is the
yeah.
scale of the car crashes problem in South Africa?
That's quite an interesting question. And it's unfortunately quite huge. Just 2 weeks ago, we had a plane crash that
Yeah.
took place in India where we had about 242 people who got killed. And as you know, that has been spoken about all over the world.
Mm.
The grief goes as far as Europe, as far as Russia, and some African countries as well as in India, because of the sheer numbers of people who were killed at one accident.
Mm.
And unfortunately, every week in South Africa, we've got exactly the same number of people who get killed on road crashes.
Mm.
And I'm talking, there are 52 weeks. So it's like the equivalent of 52 Boeings that crash in South Africa, but in this case, they crash on the road. So the number of people who get killed on the road is extremely high.
Sure.
We have about 32 people who get killed on the road on a daily basis. As we speak today, by the end of the day, we are going to be having 32 families at least who are going to be mourning because somebody has been killed. And that's quite a high number.
Mm.
And over and above that, we have about 157 people who get injured. And I'm not talking injured where there's a scratch or something like that.
Mm.
I'm talking life-changing injuries where you are no longer able to do what you were normally being able to do in the past. If you think about it, 157 people, not on a weekly or monthly basis, but on a daily basis. And the third thing is that, unfortunately, the people who are involved mostly in these accidents, close to about 50%, are unfortunately young people between the ages
Mm.
of 15 and 34.
Sure.
So the extent of the accident is quite staggering. It's quite unfortunate. It's very, very high.
That is like really disturbing when you're talking about the age groups that are like really affected. I ask
Yeah.
myself, yeah, because I think as the older you get, you want to be safe. You know that you have some people waiting for you at home and
Yes.
all that, so we as lolong man endleleni. But now, how
Yes.
does human behavior contribute to car accidents?
That's another issue that's important. Um, it is not the car that contributes to accidents.
Mm.
It is not the road that contributes to accidents. But 87% of all the crashes that takes place after they've been analyzed are as a result of the decisions that we make and as a result of the actions we take while using the road. So if you think about it, The contribution of the condition of the car is there. Yes, we agree. The contribution of the condition of the road is there. Yes, we agree. But the biggest contribution that takes place or that contributes to that determines whether there's going to be an accident or not is what I do as the user of the road, as a pedestrian, as a driver, as a passenger, as a cyclist, as a runner, everybody else that uses the road. So it is us, human beings, who contribute to accidents. And that's the unfortunate reality that we have in this country.
So you highlighted something about young people earlier on. What is the impact of fatal accidents on the youth itself?
Again, the unfortunate part is that young people who get involved in accidents are people who we call economically active young people. So it is people who are either going to school, who are going to work, who are looking for work, who are selling on the streets. You know, it's people who contribute towards the well-being of their families, or it is people that we as families are contributing to with the hope that there will be something in the future which will change our circumstances. And unfortunately, that's the loss that we suffer as a country. That's the loss that we suffer as individuals. That's the loss that we suffer as communities and families. So the you know the effect of it is unfortunately very, very high on all levels.
And when do these or most of these accidents happen, Sphamandla?
Most of these accidents take place during Fridays, from Friday to Sunday, and most of them take place from the hour of midnight until 5 a.m. We're not saying accidents don't take place in other times. We're not saying they don't take place at other periods outside of that. But the majority, about 62% of the accidents, take place between Friday and Sunday, and from the hours of 12 midnight to 5 a.m. And you know what's happening during that time? People are coming from entertaining themselves. People are coming from all other sorts of places. People are going to funerals. You know, I live from Gauteng, and there's a funeral in Limpopo. I want to rush there and be there at 6 o'clock, and I leave at 2. My body at that time is used to be sleeping.
Yeah.
And as soon as I get comfortable on the N1, the body does what it normally does.
Falls asleep.
Starts dozing off, and then the problems start. So, yeah, most of the accidents take place during that particular period of time.
I think the what we are used to or what we think of is during Easter. So I was looking for such an answer, during Easter, during. I thought of, but now, does it mean that almost every weekend we've got fatal accidents happening?
Well, we've got fatal accidents happening every day, but most of them would then fall within the weekend. Like as I indicated, about 62% fall within the weekend.
That's a lot.
And that is why we want to encourage people that the use of alcohol is we cannot hide it. It's bad for the country, because we know there is empirical evidence that shows that where alcohol is involved, there is abuse in the families, there are accidents, there is this and that. But if you have to do it, let's say it's a group of young people going to a club. If you have to do it, just make sure that there's a dedicated driver who's not going to drink. Or if you're lucky and you live in areas where you've got access to e-hailing services, like
use
Uber,
that.
Bolt, and meter taxis, use that. Because it starts as fun, but it ends in tears. And it is people that end up coming to us. It is families that end up coming to us. And then we also say, who was at fault in this accident? Sometimes we find that it's a young person, just started working, bought a car, went to have fun, came back, had an accident, and they died. The family is now coming. This person has got a 2-year-old child. And we find that this person was at fault. Unfortunately, we are not able to contribute.
Sure.
We're not able to compensate, because we also determine who was at fault for the accident to take place.
Sphamandla, you mentioned liquor. What about texting and driving?
So if you look at the patterns of young people in terms of what contributes to accidents, It's three things, key things. It's not all of them. It's
Okay.
not only them, but it's three key things.
Okay.
It's the use of alcohol and drugs,
Hmm.
where people use alcohol and drugs and then go to the road as pedestrians or as drivers. And that is a problem. The second thing is the use, is what we call generally distracted use of the road. You're using the road, but you've got earphones. You are on Facebook, you are on TikTok, but you are using the road.
Hmm.
And of course, the third thing is crossing the road where it is not safe to do so, or people are not able to see you. Because, for example, at the moment it's winter. By 5:30 in the afternoon, it's a bit dark.
And
If I
you're
leave
wearing
home, I
dark
need to make sure
clothes.
that, because you're wearing dark clothes, so just make sure that when you leave home, you've got clothes that people are going to be able to see you if you're going to be walking next to the road. So
Sure.
those are the key things. Of course, there are many other things, but for young people particularly,
Yeah.
these are the three key things that contribute to them being involved in accidents.
So, Sphamandla, tell us about some of the RAF's road safety programs targeted at the youth.
I'm currently in Northern Cape, where we run a program where we train young people to receive driving licenses, learner's licenses, and PRDPs. So it's a program that we run all over the country. We work with different municipalities where they invite youth who participate in the program. We train about 1,080 young people over a 3-year period. We have another program where we work with schools to support them, those who've got scholar patrols.
Yeah.
We supply them with uniform, we supply them with training. We've got programs where we encourage young people to to identify road safety problems in their own areas and come up with programs that they think they can implement. And then if we determine that such programs are supportable, we work with them, we support them. We currently have about about 190 youth that are working in about 4 provinces doing exactly that. So there's a number of programs, but we also encourage young people to go to our social media pages, to our website, and just be able to check there some of the things that we do. And also with the inquisitive eye of what can I do, how can I get involved.
Yeah. So, in an unfortunate event of road crash, what can people claim for or from the RAF? I think we are not aware. Right now, you mentioned that you also check who is at fault, and if you find the driver or whoever who is at fault, you will not pay because you check all sorts of things. So, if we say people find themselves in an unfortunate event of a road crash, what can they claim for from the RAF?
So there's a variety of things that we pay for. For example, if someone has been killed, we then pay for the funeral. But I must also emphasize that for the funeral, we don't pay for everything, but we pay for the essential activities that are required for the person to be buried. For example, we pay for the mortuary, for transportation, for the casket, as well as for the gravesite.
Okay.
Anything else is for the account of the family. Again, if someone gets killed and they have a family that they were looking after, they were supporting financially, in other words, they were a breadwinner, we then are able to assist that family to pay to compensate them with the loss of support. And then if someone gets injured, we pay for medical expenses, all their medical expenses up until they go to the grave. Even after a claim has been settled, we give them what we call a medical undertaking certificate, which works more or less like a medical aid. They use that to can go to doctors, to hospitals, to other medical facilities. They get assistance, and then they can be able to claim that money from the RAF. That money is also used to, if you're on a wheelchair, the wheelchair needs to be serviced, it gets broken, it needs to be replaced. They use that money to modify their vehicles. They use that money to modify their someone who's on a wheelchair, it means your kitchen has to be lowered a little bit.
Yeah.
It means your bathroom has to be opened a bit. It means that you must have ramps. We are able to contribute to those things.
So, Amanda,
Again, if somebody gets
yes.
Again, if somebody gets injured, we are able to pay for what we call general damages
Okay.
for pain and suffering. I've got a hand that has got metals. I'm no longer able to use it effectively.
Mm.
Those kind of things, we are able to pay for them.
Mm. All right.
Yes.
Sphamandla, before we close, before we even give our listeners the contacts for the Road Accident Fund, what words would you like to say to our youth and to the drivers in South Africa generally?
So I think for me, the important thing is that nobody owns the road in South Africa, but the road is there for all of us to use. And the road should not be a path to death and destruction and injury, but a road should be a path to opportunities. A road should be a path to employment. A road should be a path to development and progress. We shouldn't use the road for us to get killed or injured. We must use the road to get to to places of employment, to get to school, to get to places where we can be able to develop ourselves. And it is all upon us. It is in our hands.
Mm. So, how can
Yeah.
our listeners contact the Road Accident Fund for more information?
As I indicated earlier, we are available on all social media platforms. If you go and search for RAF, Road Accident Fund, you would be able to find us, and then you can be able to interact with us.
Mm.
Also, we have a contact center that is available Monday to Friday. In the contact center, you can call to inquire about your claim, to inquire about the claims process. The call center is operating from Monday to Friday.
Mm.
And we are available on 087 820 1111. If I can repeat the number, 087 820 1111. The good thing about our contact center is that you can also request them to call you back. Sometimes you don't have enough credit on your phone. Also, if you go to our website, you can be able to find other forms of contacting the RAF. You can send us an FFD code, you can send us a WhatsApp, you can send us an SMS, etc. So we try our level best to be as accessible as possible.
Stephen would like to ask, how long does it take for a claim to be paid out, and what is eligible for one to claim? I think that's what is eligible for one to claim after an accident. Huh? Oh, the period. Okay. The period between an accident, when the accident takes place, and claiming. How long should that take? And yeah.
So everybody is given 3 years to claim from the RAF. So if an accident takes place today, is the 24th of June, 2025, it means you've got 3 years. So we'll calculate 2026 June, 2027 June, 2028 June. So meaning after the 24th of June, 2028, you cannot be able to claim.
Mm.
There are exceptions. The exceptions are if you are a minor. If you were a minor when the accident took place, it means you were below the ages of 18. Your 3 years start from on your 18th birthday.
Mm.
So we're going to start and say when you turned 18, when you turned when you turn 19, it's year 1. When you turn 20, it's year 2. When you turn 21, it's year
or
3.
20,
Then
21, yeah.
your period expires.
Oh, okay. And then the question that he asked also, how long does it take for a claim to pay out?
So legally, we are required to finalize the claim within 120 days, which is a period of about 4 months.
Mm.
However, sometimes it doesn't take that period because there are two things that contribute to that. If a person has to go for medical assessments, if you've got complicated injuries, for example, if you make an appointment with a neurological surgeon at the moment, which is June, you'll probably get it in November. So even if we wanted to finalize the claim within 120 days, it means we are not able to do that because we had to wait for the finalization of your medical assessment.
All right.
Other things is that sometimes we want to finalize the claim, but if an attorney is involved, You do find in some cases that there's a court process if there's a dispute in terms of the offer that we give. And then, for example, if you ask for a court date in the High Court of South Africa today, you're probably going to get the earliest date in 2 years' time. So those are the things that contribute to the delays in the finalization of the claims,
All righty then. Thank you so much, Sphamandla, for talking to us this afternoon. There's so much I guess we have learned, hoping that we will be talking to you again soon to learn more from the Road Accident Fund.
It's our pleasure, and thank you for the opportunity.
And yes, my family, that is Sir Sphamandla Gumbi, who is the Road Accident Fund Senior Manager for Road Safety. Do remember that if you'd like to be in contact with them, they are available on 087 820 1111. I'm going to repeat that. Their call contact center is 087 820 1111 087 820 1111. And you can also send them an SMS on 44930 44930. And those are I will put all the other details that you'd like to know, their email and all of that. We'll put that down. And when you need more information, you can call our client services. We'll make that available for you. Make sure that you do not delay. You go in on time. But most of all, beyond everything, make sure that you are safe out there on our roads.
Make a joyful noise, people of the Lord. Shout yeah! Shout yeah! Shout yeah!